G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Gauss Minigun prototype. It's a prototype of a Gauss Minigun, which looks like this. As you can tell, when they went on to the 1.0 version, the minigun increased in size and decreased in power because, okay, these are two different mods, obviously, and the interpretation of how powerful this thing should be is a little bit skewed compared to the Fallout 76 port, which we won't talk about for much longer. But what you're looking at here is basically a minigun. It's got very similar sounds, but it fires at 2mm electromagnetic cartridges, the ECs, which have that blue tracer, which looks really cool when fired very quickly. It also has the explosion on the end, which for heavy guns, dealing with explosions means you double dip because both heavy gunner and demolitions experts sort of apply here. That's why your missile launchers can get up to 800 damage if you have both demo expert and heavy gunner. So there you go. So the modifications on this thing are going to be fairly similar to that of the cryo thing. So we've got a middle trunk again. Also accelerated barrels and the tri-barrels, just like your standard vanilla game minigun. It'll actually change the barrels. Usually the tri-barrels will give you extra range, but that's actually a shorter barrel. Maybe those capacitors are better since you don't have to worry about the thing overheating, because the barrel does still start to glow, which they fixed in the 1.0 release of the Gauss Minigun, but I'm guessing I can throw a bit of head cannon in there to make that make sense, despite the barrel space and length being greatly decreased. Let's go for the accelerated barrels, even though middle trunk definitely looks the coolest with the long barrels, but we'll go and move on to the next one. There's a gunner sight here. That'll increase your accuracy, possibly only for the purposes of VATS, but that little sight at the top, that's always there regardless, so that's just a stat booster. You can have a muzzle bayonet, which you can turn this into one of those, I suppose, makeshift chainsaws or swirly blades of death. I don't think that's totally necessary on a weapon that does 356 ballistic damage before we get into any of the energy damage that it does, but it's an option that it's there. Obviously, that's just from the Fallout 4 minigun thing, which if you've got the Creation Club paint, so I'll just whack that on for a second, you can actually change the color of that. No, you can't. I'm a liar. Don't listen to me. Get rid of that. That'll increase our range, decrease our range if we put that on, so that hurts our performance a little bit. I'm noticing that our range is not actually that good already, so to get the best out of this, we might have to be nice and close to our enemies, and none of this Creation Club stuff works. Righto, that's all the customization. Let's talk about getting this thing, and then we'll get started. And you can get out of here. Okay, so this weapon has a couple of different variants of mods which spawns it in different areas. So I'll just be covering both just in case you can't find yours in-game. The first location to obtain the prototype Gauss Minigun will be located at the castle. You'll need to finish the quest called Old Guns to access the armory in order to get this, but once you're there, you just walk in the armory and you'll find a table. And don't worry, wearing this top outside of a Minuteman stronghold or inside a Minuteman stronghold has gotten me a few strange looks, that's for sure, but we mean them no harm. Minutemen are good. And you'll find a table right here, and you'll have the Gauss Minigun prototype sitting on it. You just pick it up there, and then you'll be good to go. But there's one other place, and I'll show that off as well. The second location is in the Mass Fusion building on the level that's just on the plane of glass. And I believe the only way to actually get to this bit is to do the Brotherhood of Steel mission, or thereabouts, where the bridge gets disabled, or the elevator gets disabled, and it stops you here, and you got to jump your way down. But actually, what you want to do at this glass point is go up. So if you just go up this fallen floor, jump on here, find the generator room, and walk right around the corner to this well-lit room. It's got a Captain Cosmos and Jangles the Moon Monkey poster in it. You'll find a Gauss Minigun prototype just sitting there, and that's the only way you can get it, unless you use console commands. There's the thing that activates the thing again, the elevator again in the story mission, but we don't have to worry about that because we're fine. Now to get out of here, we'll have to call for a pickup, I think. If you were to use a power armor jetpack, you could probably just fly up there, just using the grooves along the elevator shaft as a stepping stone on the way up. So that is definitely one way to do it. Righto, so we're outside of the immersive Gunners Plaza once again, and the Gauss Minigun prototype looks like that in first person. It's got the same sort of spin-up animations, I guess animations, that's valid, but sounds as just a vanilla game minigun, same animations and everything like that. Quite a little bit smaller. You'll also notice how there's no foregrip there. We're just holding on to nothing. They fixed that in the 1.0 version. They realized that you need to hold this thing in 2 hands because it's a giant, heavy rotary barrel weapon, so that's something worth looking at. But anyways, I guess we'll just get started. This really shouldn't take all that long. I could probably just perch myself up on a spot that's sort of half elevated, and I can probably get a lot of the kills standing in just one spot. So if I could just get on this truck. Perfect. Let's begin. Okay, I did not anticipate the spread being this wide, but I'm not super worried about the spread because eventually we're gonna get him. I suppose we've got this. Well, yeah, I think you got him. Yeah, we've got VATS criticals. I guess we could use them, and just like standard rotary barrel weapons like this, it's all 10 round bursts, unless you cancel the crit, and only one of those shots becomes a critical. Okay, so it looks like we ought to be closing the gap a little bit, or burst firing, which you can totally do in Fallout 4, because the barrels don't need to start spinning all the way from nothing to actually get going again, which is nice. Or alternatively, we could blast them at close range. I think that we've taken out the front. Is this quicker than the javelin that I used the other day? It might be, you know. That's pretty nuts. See if I can't get some splash damage bounced off that. No, that's not going to happen. We'll just have to catch them later. Now, obviously, using this weapon, you're going to go through your electromagnetic cartridges at a faster rate than what the vanilla game can give you, because in standard vanilla terms, the only weapon that runs on these things is a Gauss rifle, and that's a big, powerful sniper weapon where you're not supposed to dump 500 in the matter of 10 or so seconds. But regardless of that, we're still getting fairly good efficiency out of this. We just took that rocket to the knee. Bit of a Skyrim reference for you. And a cheeky little level up to just add insult to injury, because these guys have got no chance. I wonder what it'd be like seeing a bot use one of these things, seeing an AI. We might just hire a follower a little bit later on just to see what this thing can do in the hands of AI, because sometimes they're really good and sometimes they're just not with rotary barrels like this. If they go for a really long burst, I'm sure they'll be fine, but the amount of damage that we're seeing out of this, I don't think we need to worry. The time to kill is about as long as it takes to spin the barrel up. A little bit of pre-spinning the barrel is in order if you want to get this thing killing as fast as you possibly can. We've got some Rust Devils coming in. You've picked the wrong time to raid Gunner's Plaza, that's for sure. I wonder if that's a random encounter, because I've actually seen this happen multiple times when it comes to slaying the Gunners. That one's just gone behind the train carriages there. Honestly, it's a good choice. They opened the door. I don't know what caused that, but they're not around anymore. I was hoping for a little door breach maneuver, but looks like that doesn't have to happen. That was all accelerated barrels, by the way, which is slightly higher DPS. From now on, I think we'll just use the standard barrel, the middle trunk, as it were, just to extend our range out a little bit, perhaps reduce the spread. Alright, there's one over there. He's attacking something. Little critters, I think. The super mutant screams pain as he gets up from his sitting position. That's normal. And let's use that a little bit. Why not? We'll go for some criticals here. Yeah, that'll do the job. It'll slow down our firing a little bit, but I do want to guarantee these initial hits actually make it. There's what the Gauss rifle projectile looks like, by the way, in case you're wondering. There's the barrel heating up, of course. I think I mentioned that earlier, but the standard Gauss Minigun doesn't do that. And here comes a mysterious stranger at an extra 1,000 damage, just because. Unfortunately for him, at such a large target, there's not a big chance I'm going to miss him when I've got the crosshairs centered on him. So there you go. It's over.
Please, take this.
Thanks, Farmer Redhead Garrus. I've played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and every time I hear Garrus's voice, it's so distinct and iconic. But there's like Fallout 4 is just chock full of Garrus. Garrus here everywhere. Probably under that train carriage you'll find a Garrus Vicarian under there. Okay, this time we'll do it without all of that trickery. We're still going to sneak critical because I'm cheap like that. And 3, 2, 1. Game over. Wendigo. I think this is an overpowered weapon. I'm just gonna put that out there. Might be a bit of a stretch. Alright, time to fight one more monster, but this time I won't be fighting it at all, except for throwing flashbangs at it to stop it in place whilst they hose it down with their prototype Gauss Miniguns, which we've got 2 of because I had them. So I've brought Winter and we've brought Matilda along. Let's get started. And I think this will just kind of just stop them right in their tracks. I wonder if they do their cowering animation. They've got one, you barely ever see it because they're bears. That'll do it. Oh my god. Alright. Okay, Winter charged at it. She's gone the revive here. Hang on, I'll get her.
Take them all.
There we go. Big one's down. Alright. I would say that's a win. Except for charging in that. You know, you didn't have to do that. You and your heroics.
May the Institute's fall be a lesson to anyone who'd risk tampering with our humanity.
Okay, they're not the Institute, but I can appreciate the sentiment. Okay, so I think you get the idea of the prototype Gauss Minigun. It's deadly in the hands of anyone who uses it, even the Bethesda AI, which caused lots of interesting moments. But if you'd like to see this thing in your game, this was requested by a user, and it's actually on Xbox too. So if you want to find this thing on console, there's an option to download this. Check it out if you are interested. Link will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching, guys.